Ghazal by Larry Levis. Does exile begin at birth? I lived beside a wide river. For so long I stopped hearing it. As when a glass shatters during an argument and we are secretly thrilled. We wanted it to break. Always something missing now in the cry of one bird. Its wings flared against the wood. Still, everything that is singular has a name. Stone, song, trembling, waste and snow. I remember how my old psychiatrist would pinch his nose between a thumb and forefinger, look up at me, and sigh.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone, to Desperate Attune. As usual, I'm Prince, and with me are a cast of players, including Salty. Hello, Salty.
Yes, that's me. Hello.
Yes. Very good. Also, Tree.
Yo!
That's Tree, all right. And Aadiyat.
Yes.
And Klow.
My name is Klow. Wait, no,
Yes.
it's not. No, it's not.
It can be
Well.
if you like.
Too late. Yes. To you, dear listener, it has been only 1 week, but to us, we have taken a little bit of a break in recording, so we are now going to refamiliarize ourselves with what's going on in the story and also catch you up a little bit. I tell you this because we will probably take a little longer to recap this than usual. Maybe. We'll see. What we are doing is we are in the middle of 2 scores for the price of 1. 2 events for the price of 1. One of them is that Anish Anrakis, a very wealthy member of the House Anrakis, the man who has the basically exclusive license to trade legally in shadow silk in Uduasha, is going on a date with his girlfriend Mumtaz, who is also Bidrohi's girlfriend. It's complicated.
No, it's
they're
very
not going.
simple.
Yes, it's very simple actually.
Just explain it.
And yeah, and even simpler actually is that she's pulling a romance scam on him and is just trying to steal money from him. But as part of this romance scam, she has to go along with him on what isn't really a date. She's just going as his +1 to a function he's attending with the Fursan, where he intends to meet some important people and have some important conversations. However, this means that the crew now knows precisely where Anish Anrakis will be. And since he is the patron of the Falling Star Sword School, with whom the crew is at war, there is an opportunity here to somehow try to persuade him by one means or the other to pull his funding away from them. And, or, kidnap him or something, but I think you were going with the embarrass the Falling Star Sword School in front of him. At the same time as this is happening, though, because I mentioned this is 2 scores for the price as 1, the crew have recently appointed themselves the protectors of the Kethrisi community. And as a consequence of this, and an alliance with the gang known as the Bone Shakers, it has come to the crew's attention that one Biscuit, what was his full name?
Butchan.
Biscuit Butchan, yes, is being targeted by the Flatbread Uncles because he is a cook, he is a Kethrisi, I think he's a baker actually. Kethrisi baker, which means that he trades in food without the Flatbread Uncles' explicit blessing. So they are planning to hit him while he is also attending a separate meeting with the Bob, a member of the Lockporter Stevedores Union. So there are 2 meetings going on. Anish Andrakis is meeting with the Fursan, and Biskut Bachchan is meeting with the Stevedores Union. And you aim to disrupt both of these meetings at the same time, which is a tall order. And we basically begin this score with you guys gathering information on the situation, which we did not do last time. We pretty much ended it after presenting these opportunities. So you have the opportunity to gather information before we go straight into the action. But yeah, tall order. 2 powerful people, one of whom you're trying to protect, one of whom you're trying to deceive, and you're all aiming to do it at once. The saving grace is that they will both be in Bundervest in roughly the same location, which is why this can work.
I think it's important to bear in mind that the reason Biscuit Butchan is not in the Flatbread Uncles is not because of some sort of principle where he's like, no, I will not pay up to a gang. It's because he doesn't think he's good enough to be a part of the Flatbread Uncles.
Of course. Yeah,
He's
he's a very
humble.
humble man.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just make the greatest biscuits you ever tasted in your life, but like anyone can do that.
Yeah. He's very well beloved by the Kethrisi community anyway, and hence an important guy. And the Kethrisi community has been, in turmoil as of late, which is why you have made yourselves its protectors, right? We also established this just for a little bit of context to why you made yourself the protectors of the Kethrisi community, is that in your absence, when Bidrohi was in prison and the crew was a little bit laying low and split up and so on, basically a lot of other gangs started to encroach on Kethrisi territory. You had Jackal stepping in and trying to claim the area around your mother's boarding house, and the Flatbread Uncles have also been emboldened. So that's part of the context in which this is happening, right? The community is vulnerable at this moment, and until you send a message, people are going to pick on them.
There's a metaphor here about how the bread used to be flat, but now it's like yeasted and rising.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to flatten it once. But I will stop talking.
Yes.
Okay. So since we have a bisected score, should we first discuss in or out of character who's going to do what, and then maybe we each do preparations for our bit?
Yeah. I think where Mushfiq is going is obvious because a Kethrisi person, and secondly, a Kethrisi food person is in danger.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Saeeda has also spent some time setting herself up as the protector of the Kethrisi last session.
Yeah. I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing as well. I'm very tempted by the Anish thing, but I don't think it's like appropriate. I'm tempted out of character. Saeeda presumably thinks better of themselves or something.
I am going to say, just out of character too, that I intend for these to happen very near each other so that it is possible for you to run between those 2 locations. But it's probably good if you have like a sense of where you'll be focusing in the beginning.
Sense. Makes sense. Clem, where do you stand on all of this?
Well, we've mentioned previously we'd like to get some Clem and Bidrohi time.
Yes, that'd be nice.
So I think, that would be nice.
I couldn't remember if we said that on air or if we just talked about it.
Well, we definitely talked about it.
Yes, we did. Excellent.
Okay.
Okay. So gather information / set the score up. So Bidrohi's plan involved. So the Anish and Rakesh is meeting the Fursan, and Mumtaz's plan was that I'd show up. Remember what Mumtaz's plan was? Do you remember Mumtaz's plan?
It was kind of badly formed. It was just like, I know where he will be, so you can show up and like. I think her plan was basically you can show up and beat him up and show to him that the Falling Star Sword School is useless. But then you were like, no, I want to win him over. I want to be attacked by the Falling Sword School.
Yes. So that bit we have to set up because that's not inherent to it. So, so the plan is going to be that there's going to be this meeting, and the Falling Star is going to attack us there. I'm wondering if it makes more sense for me to show up at that meeting and then get attacked, or if I should lead the Falling Star there. I think it's funnier if I show up at the meeting with Clem under whatever pretense. I don't know what we're going to say we're doing there, and then we get attacked coincidentally. Okay. So I think what we have to do is, so we know the exact spot, right?
You know his itinerary, yeah. So, like, it's not necessarily one spot. You could catch him like before he has this meeting, or whatever. But if you want to do it during the meeting with Fursan, which of course raises the stake because the Fursan are heavily armed.
Was it far as Julaka?
Yeah. Because we've got the clock to gain her trust. We could do it under the pretenses of that.
Yep. This is true.
Okay.
You haven't gained her trust, so that's an interesting thing at stake in the scene, but absolutely. Yeah, so I think a thing that Mumtaz wouldn't know is exactly what this meeting is concerning, so that's a thing you could gather information on to like figure out an alibi to be there.
Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is it's not to gather information in that I'm not looking for information, but I'm setting it up. So it can also be a fortune roll. I don't know. It's up to you. But I am going to let it be known through word on the street that Bidrohi is going to be here at X time on X day. And, he's definitely going to be there.
Yeah. I don't think there's a role for this. I don't think it's interesting. I think we have figured out, right, that Bidrohi is like target number 1 for the Falling Star Assassins. You went to prison to avoid them. So if you put out that like actually he's still alive and he's going to be on this location, at the very least the Falling Star Sword School is going to send a spy, right? So
but I want more than the very least. I want some cool assassins.
Okay, we can handle this in 2 ways. Then either we can just say they're going to send a couple of guys to figure out if it's really you, and then obviously being glory hounds, so those guys will probably attack you and try to take the glory themselves, because this is how the Falling Star Sword School do. Or you can acquire an asset. And in this case, the asset is an assassin targeting yourself, which is a very funny asset to acquire, but I think that's the...
Perfect. I think the way that this fictionally becomes framed as an acquire asset, since this is also... our turf is little... is the Ketrisi part of the town? Is that...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
is that our turf? Okay. Yeah. So this is a free acquire asset it'll be, I think. That's fair. Yeah, and it's less like I'm ordering a hit on myself, but I'm like, I showed up to some bar and I'm like, hello friends and enemies. Bidrohi is back in town and I have lots of money because fuck these bitches trying to kill me. And I buy everyone drinks and sherbet.
You basically, the role is to see how badly can you humiliate them with your grand expenditure, right? Being like, I'm not afraid of these bitches.
Yeah. I fuck these bitches.
Yes. Very good.
Okay. Is anyone helping me with this? We have Al-Qadar and Qadam, a man of the people.
Sure, yes. Al-Qadar seems like he would straightforwardly be helpful here.
Yeah, but if Mushfiq Bhai also wants to do me an assistance on top.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think Mushfiq... I could even do it like... We don't have to be in the same place. I could just be in a different part of town. Like, maybe even at, like, Aziza's bar, like, where I'm just hanging out and, just going like... Yeah, like... Bidrohi's out again, so we're gonna go out in a big way. Just,
Yep.
Run the falling star out of town. He's on it right now.
So you're spending a stress to assist. All right, so it's with 2 bonus dice to a tier roll. And it's a 5, which means that you get an asset roughly on par with your own tier. So what this means in this context, unless you want to spend coin to upgrade it, is, obviously you get a bonus here because you're trying to cause trouble for yourself. So I think a tier 1 problem is, a bigger thing than a tier 1 helpful thing. But what you will get at this scale is the Falling Star Sword School is not going to send like a named leader, like someone super famous after you, but they are going to send more than just a handful of spies. They are going to send young hot bloods looking for glory.
Okay. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to humiliate the masters as such, because I respect them as individuals.
Yeah.
But if we were to upgrade this to a quality 2 asset, as it were, and this is a quality 3 gang, would we still get like some hot bloods who are not like named men, but like they also know what they're doing?
Yes, I think if you upgrade it here, you would not. Again, you would still not get the leaders because that would be quality 3, I guess, because that's the tier 3. But you would get like some lieutenants, some really experienced people, some. So put it like this: the city as a whole won't know who they are, but Anish Anrakis, who pays them, certainly knows who they are.
Absolutely, that's the important thing.
Wait,
Okay, the reason we spend more money on this is that Bidrohi actually gets carried away, and I guess he sends Bhejal back to the lairs. Like, shit, Bhejal, I may have bought too many drinks. Please run to the lair and bring more money. And he brings more money than he needs because he can't count properly. I'm like, since now we have more money, let us buy more drinks.
Wait, is arithmetic going to have to be included now in our syllabus? Is that something that like we may need to?
Is there someone who's qualified to teach arithmetic?
I can do some calculus, sure.
I am perfectly happy if Saeeda Auntie wants to do have a calculus course as part of the sword fighting school, then I'll be very happy to learn.
There's a astounding amount of mathematics involved in bloodshed and war.
Yes.
Clem could.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
Speaking of Clem, what has Clem been up to?
Yeah, you have secured your asset of a named lieutenant, and we will use a lieutenant by the name of
Dalimuddin Buddin.
Dalimuddin.
Dalim's a tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. Dalimuddin it is.
Is this something that I should be paying attention to, or should I just accept that, like, not all things are meant to be known by?
Before the session, Prince and Aadiyat had a conversation.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that is enough. I need no more.
Okay, Dalimuddin will be turning up, and he is the lieutenant. I realized I hadn't named any of the Falling Star Sword School lieutenants, and now I have. So all is well.
No, you had like Runbeard the Blade and...
Yeah, I know, but they were explicitly of the faction that don't want to fight you, actually, because you befriended all of those guys.
Oh yeah, so the dregs.
This is what I realized before the session. I had actually realized, I thought I had a bunch of cool people from the faction already until I realized you already befriended those. Like, if they attack you now, that would kind of be taking away your success. So I need to come up with... Yeah, so I need to come up with some new people.
Yeah, fuck Dalimuddin. Never liked him.
Good.
Sorry, what happened? Dalimuddin is not a character anymore?
No, he is. Dalimuddin is a character. It's just he is a character that we have established Bidrohi doesn't like him.
Okay.
That is all.
Let's go.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on to
Clem, was it?
Yes. Yeah, we can go ahead. So do we know what?
Did Bidrohi have a scene with Clem, or what was the thing? Because I cut you off, Klow.
Oh no, I was just saying that I gathered my information. If Clem has an idea for what they want to do.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do we know? Did Mumtaz let you know what the meeting's about.
I
I
think she wouldn't know what the meeting is concerning precisely because she's just there as like eye candy, right? She is.
She doesn't need to know any of this.
Hey,
no.
What? Hey, sibling Clem. Listen, this Faris Juleka person used to be like big friend, but then we kind of like embarrassed her. And like she doesn't want to talk to Mushfiq Bhai and I anymore. But like she doesn't know you.
So sorry. She doesn't know you. ...
Yeah, like doesn't. Yeah.
I feel like what this sounds like is you're trying to set Clem up with Faris Juleka. Is what it sounds like.
Sure. I'm just confused. Anyway, listen, I'm just giving Salty avenue. Salty can pursue whatever avenue they want.
Yes.
That was the angle I was going for. Maybe not the love interest.
Yeah, that's not what I was going for either. That's just Tree's interpretation.
Yeah, sure. I think Clem will certainly go to talk to Juleka.
Okay.
Juleka is a married woman. Okay.
She is.
Yes.
That been established.
That's part of her description in the.
Really?
Have we established that she's married? Well, not in the game.
I ask the important questions.
Yeah. So where would you find her? Yeah.
Yes, and I guess since she is a crew contact, even if not in good favors with the crew, she can be found. She is probably responsible for Bundervest in part, right? So she probably has a probably about her home even. Like she lives here. She's a reckless swashbuckler. She's married into the Fursan. Yeah. She doesn't know you, so I guess you just kind of come by and see her on her. I think she's sitting outside. I think Uduasha is hot. People tend to like to be outside where there's a breeze, as the well makes the entire city quite unbearably warm. So she is sitting out front of her house, fanning herself, being basically on duty, which she is from her house, insofar as people are supposed to be able to find her if there's trouble, right?
Yeah. I think I'm going to spend a little bit of my stash here and do this as a long-term project as well, potentially, to regain her trust, as I'm going to have brought around some sweets from Butler and some chai to start re-establishing that connection.
Okay.
So Clem just sits down with all of this.
Wait, is Butler making his own Gulab Jamun?
Yeah.
We haven't established who makes the Gulab Jamun. It could be him.
Fuck! Worth every penny.
Is the Gulab Jamun any good though?
Yes.
Bidrohi likes it.
What kind of fucking question is that? Of course it's good.
Okay, cool. Just curious.
Yes. So anyway, she's sitting there fanning herself. Clem comes up with a collection of treats, and she looks up, and well, she doesn't know you, but I think she knows of you by reputation, because she does try to keep track of things. And she stands up, seeing as someone is calling her attention, and says, trouble down at the blacksmith?
No, actually, I was just hoping to have a minute of just have a chat, reconnect.
Reconnect?
I'm with the Rising Moon now.
Oh. She says, very well.
Oh.
Take a seat.
Of course. Clem sits down, holds out a hand.
Yeah.
We've not been formally introduced. Clementine.
Yeah, I don't think she takes her hand. She nods in your direction and says, Juleka. And that is that. And I think you can tell the moment you say that you're with the Rising Moon, there is, this distrust and hostility. Absolutely.
It's been a while. Things change. So why? I think Clem goes in with the. So what exactly is your problem with the Rising Moon then?
If I remember correctly, it's because she saw us talking to Turzan Diamondtooth, and she thought that we were best friends with Turzan Diamondtooth, a man who routinely publicly humiliates her. But that was long before we became embroiled in a public rivalry with the Falling Star.
There are two things here to it. One of them is constantly getting in trouble with the Fursan itself, but the thing that really made it personal was you getting involved in the Colosseum and being all buddy-buddy with Turzan Diamondtooth. And then, I think, after it became a conflict with them, you've kind of stolen her glory, right? She wanted to be the one to kick ass in the Colosseum, and then you did it instead. So yeah. She says, I think the sword school's gotten too big for its britches. That's all. Getting involved in big Colosseum fights, making a big splash. And, once upon a time I thought they were friendly to independent adventurers in the arena. Turns out they're not.
Independent adventurers. Well, you're calling yourself an independent adventurer then?
I'm not part of a sword school. I fight the way I taught myself. Some people find that more respectable. And she kind of looks at you with a meaningful look, like, are you also self-taught? You have the look about you? She doesn't say that, but that's the, maybe there is some kinship there.
Yeah. I would like to see how you fight then. It'd be a pleasure to fight with somebody who hasn't been taught by a sword school. And I think Clem at this leans in and goes, It is an epidemic around here. Everybody's fighting the same way. It's boring, frankly. You fight one of them, you fought them all. Maybe there's a spin on one style and but you can just bash them in the face and they'll all go down as easy as pie.
Yeah, you have opportunity here to make a roll. I think now is where you make the roll. We'll treat it as both kind of a gather information and a project to advance this clock, right? So you have brought a bribe for her, but there's also this leaning in and this temptation to fight you and everything. So I think you're set up to do an action roll.
Yeah, I think this sounds like a consort here at the moment. Cool. What sort of position effect are we looking at here? Or
I think it's a fortune roll because it's downtime. Cool. Yeah. So
bang in. Yeah.
You're working on a project to regain her trust, and you're starting from very little. So I don't think there's any risk. This cannot go backwards. It can only go forwards. And the question is how much.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. So that's just the one die at the moment, unless somebody wants to help. Yeah. I will. That's a 6, though.
No, I was briefly away, but okay.
Oh, well, lovely.
Nice.
It's a 6. So it's 3 ticks to the clock. So 1 tick along the clock of regain Faris Julika's trust. And I think she says, all right then, slow day. And she will get up and she will indeed spar with you. And
if we make it a crit, we can just finish this.
Yeah.
That is true. So if you do want to assist, or are you talking about spending resources or rolling more dice?
What if I do assist? Let's see what happens, right?
Okay. How are you assisting then?
How about we have the sparring and then we'll see. And then I'll just say what I do to add an extra dice, and then we'll see how well that goes.
Okay, sure. So you spar, and I think she's from Bright Harbor. And I think a thing you find, like fighting her, you learn something about her in the process too. right? She married into the Fursan. Her background before that is unclear. By her, she is from Bright Harbor, so she's not from Uduasha. And what you recognize, I think, is that she's probably a former pirate, or at least a former sailor. She has the style of someone who's used to fighting in like the confined quarters aboard a ship. And this is not something that obviously 99% of people in Uduasha would figure out because you're landlocked in a desert. But you recognize it because you're well traveled.
And now for my assistance, which will definitely add that final dice.
I also have a Devil's Bargain if we're rolling more dice. And it is that Clem is... Let me refresh myself on this. Clem is cut off from their vice, right?
Yeah.
At the moment. Because you have fallen out with Woots. But if you are willing to... Because I think what you can tell is Julika works as a Fursan, which are, police people. They're not that well paid. They rely a lot on bribes. I think that you can tell that Julika's weapons require some maintenance. And if you want to take it on yourself to either give her a new weapon or help her with that, you can have a bonus dice, but it requires you to use up more of Woots' resources. So it will actually tick your Woots clock backwards once.
I won't take that Devil's Bargain because I would like to have my vice back at some point.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was a logical bargain to spend.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense
on her. So. Okay, so then it's just Bidrohi.
Yeah. My assistance comes in the form of a little card that I'll be like, okay, you do your thing, and then once she's softened up and receptive, you hand her this because she will not enjoy it if she's not in a good mood. She'll just throw it in the trash. Just throw it absolutely straight in the trash, okay? Without even looking at it. But when she's in a good mood, you open this up, and it's the nicest card I could find, and there is sad bunny rabbit drawn on. It says, I am sorry.
I think Clem looks at this sad bunny rabbit.
Fantastic.
What do rabbits look like exactly?
There's so many eyes.
And they're all sad. They're all full of tears.
Yes.
Isn't this censoring yourself a little bit? So many eyes.
What?
Okay.
It's the Severossi joke. You wouldn't get it.
Yes.
Let's
Please
see.
roll the next one.
Let's see.
Yes.
That's a 1.
It's a 1. Okay, Bidrohi is not helping at all. I don't think she is the sort of person who accepts greeting cards, I guess we learn in this.
Or maybe it just looks more threatening and fucked up than anything else.
Yes.
She doesn't like rabbits.
I think the reason that this works towards the entire school regaining her trust is that once she figures out that, like, oh, okay, the sword school actually does take in people who don't fight like them, like they're not these orthodox glory hounds who want to be the new hot shit. You actually do want to be the new hot shit, but she doesn't think that right now. Yeah, basically, if they accepted Clemon, they can't be all bad. So I think the rest of the crew will definitely have to speak to her at some point.
They can't be a bunch of gatekeeping elitist people who have really high standards and demands if they have Clemon.
They've got a token diversity higher.
Yes.
Incredible.
Very good. And how are you chaining this into finding out what the Fursan are doing? Are you asking her while you're sparring, or what's the angle for this?
Yeah, I think I'm asking her while we're sparring, and I will spend a point to make that a crit instead to regain her trust fully. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Spend my own money on that.
Yeah. So I don't want to linger too long on this scene, so I will just tell you what information she relays. Like, you spar, she grows to really like you, and it's a crit. The clock is finished, and she also gives you good intelligence on what's going on. And I think how we're framing this is probably the reason why she gives you good intelligence is she's not allowed to go to the function, maybe, or like she wasn't explicitly invited, but she can attend.
Yeah.
So she is miffed at having been left out. Yeah. So what is going on is Anisha Andrakis is basically going to sponsor the Fursan to crack down harder on smugglers and to enforce his own various monopolies around the city on various luxuries. He is lobbying to protect Sumptuary, which is his whole thing. Like, I control various luxuries. So he is trying very hard to do an anti-smuggling initiative. And this is not like an above-board political campaign. This is basically him bribing a bunch of people.
Shit, it's the style police.
Yeah, it is actually. But, sumptuary laws are a real thing. They have been very strictly enforced in many cultures. And he wants them to be a real thing in Uduasha now. And be more strictly enforced. So yes, he is instigating his own private fashion police. That is in fact exactly what he's doing.
Fuck.
And to that end, he is meeting up with some captains, leaders of the Fursan. We should probably give the person he's meeting a name, just keep it simple, not say some captains. So he's meeting with...
The only people we have named are Julekha and also Sardar Basran, who's the head dog. Then again, I mean, it is Anish and Ruckus. If he's meeting someone, it might well be Sardar, or is it too high?
I don't think it makes sense, mostly because he could totally meet Sardar, but I don't think he would be like, yo, you work for me as the fashion police now, and that's for his angle here.
That's true. Let's see, let's have a woman, because we already established...
Sure.
Dalimuddin, was that his name? Yeah.
Dalimuddin is, he is the Red Sash Lieutenant. So, Captain... I'm for some reason not able to come up with a name at all at the moment. So someone help me.
Did we have anyone called Ruxana?
Didn't we?
No, I don't think so.
It's time for a Ruxana.
Okay, Captain Ruxana of the Fashion Police.
Yes, I demanded it. It's done.
Okay. Yeah,
good.
So he's going to meet up
with... of the Fashion Police!
Yes.
I want this to be a House and Ruckus project, a clock.
Yes, I think it is. So,
do we have any faction clocks? We don't have any faction clocks. Oh no, we do have. We have a few.
We have a few. Yeah, I haven't been.
Why is there one called Bats? Ah.
Oh, I forgot about that one. That's from when we were in the desert.
Bats. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
I was gonna say, and you know why that clock hasn't been completed? Because I did use my abilities.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mushfiq was an absolute MVP.
Yes. I have now started the clock on Rocky's Fashion Police.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Mushfiq out there being like, bats, ha!
Yes.
Bats?
Yes.
What? I will cut this out myself. Because I'm editing this episode. What?
Where do you think I got my bat from?
Yes.
My best friend.
Mm-hmm.
My clock was bats.
Selfridges?
House of Fraser.
Anyway.
Yeah, House of Fraser. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Fine.
So,
yes.
They are going to be having this meeting, and they are going to be having this meeting. It's not secret or anything, but it is at a venue that overlooks the river. So we can detail it when we get there, but they're going to be having a lovely view of the river with all the boats coming by. And this is in part also because obviously a lot of smuggling goes on via boat, right? So it's a way for them to talk about where do people smuggle my goods in and out without telling me.
Yeah.
Is that boat suspicious? Is that boat suspicious? What about that one?
Excellent.
So probably at some sort of, I don't know if it's a restaurant or a clubhouse or some sort of venue like that, but that's where they'll be having it, looking down on the river.
This really nicely aligns with the lockbirders and also the water bearers.
That is on purpose.
Yes, excellent.
Muy bien.
Yeah. So, I think that establishes what is going on there. Cool.
As to the other half of the score.
Yes. I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Saeeda.
Yes. So I think that one of the things Saeeda's currently feeling about this kind of community protection is that it's really important to kind of not just go off on your own and do your own thing, which is always their instinct, to be clear. It's like, my judgment is better than everybody else's, right? Like, obviously. But like, they're trying very hard. I genuinely think they're trying very hard to be a bit more receptive and responsive. So I think that what I want to do is figure out if there's a way to solve this problem that, and I like, this may not be the kind of gather info we normally do, but I want to gather info from my own community to understand what they think the best way to do this is, because if I can manage that, maybe that'll be like ideal, right? Like,
yeah,
so rather than
absolutely.
like getting info about the target, I kind of want info from like the client almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think you can gather information about that for what they think is a good way to protect Biscuit, which is everyone likes him, but he's not that good at protecting himself. So asking advice for how he can be protected is certainly valid, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, no one can be protected until everyone is protected.
Mm-hmm.
A wise man said that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was thinking the Ketrusi attitude towards Biscuit is probably small uwu bean must protect, but
yes.
Anyway.
Great, very good. Okay, so who do you think would be best to ask? What about? I have a friend, the Begum, who is, well, she's not exactly my friend. She's just a community leader, but she exists. Yep. Maybe she's the person who I should consult, see if she knows anyone, or has heard anything more correctly.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think we'll make this a scene either, because I'm kind of eager to move ahead, but you can roll with a bonus dice from your contact. I think it makes perfect sense, and your interests align here, so there's no cost to it.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. I thought the cost might be committing in some way to the suggestion.
No, I think asking for advice of how can I best help you, it doesn't make any sense for that to have a downside, really. That's just...
Makes sense.
Also, is my mic better now? I adjusted it a little bit. I saw.
Yes, boss.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Okay. Consort, I guess. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Relying on my connections, etc. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Consort with +1 dice.
Oh, I don't have any consort because I just decided I'm better than consort. So the 1 die is actually. Of
course
good.
You are.
This is perfect.
You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very Saeeda thing to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes
yes,
you just I genuinely I roll a 6 on the 1 die. I just gotta accept that this is how good Saeeda is. Do I want them to fail? No. Do I think it's funny if they fail? Yes. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think what she says is the best way to do this, by far, is to try to unite with the lock porters. Like the Ketrusi and the Skovlanders don't get along super well, but this is a meeting between Biscuit and the Bob, who are both like very gregarious, very well liked people on both sides. So I think her idea here is that, if the Bob, and she doesn't outright say this because it would be very crude and crass, right? But if you were to align it so that both Biscuit and the Bob get attacked at the same time, you can pretty much count on like all bystanders being like, yo, fuck that, because they're going to love either one or both of these men.
Yes, correct. This is excellent advice, and I am going to take it. And I will relay this pretty much unvarnished to Bidrohi and Clem, and say we should definitely be underhanded, right? Like don't admit that we're doing this. This is really bad if people find out that we've engineered the attack in some way, but definitely this is what we need to do.
Yep.
Great.
I'm on board.
Yeah, and I think since you rolled a 6, you will learn one other piece of information too, which is that Biscuit, being humble to a fault, is of course not going with any kind of like protection or retinue, and in fact he's probably just going to kind of be hanging out with like ordinary people on location. So he's there talking to the stevedores, and he's probably just going to be mingling with like them randomly. So he won't necessarily be talking with the Bob directly. Like he's there to broker peace between these two factions and all. But he's not necessarily going to do that by going into like a locked, highly secured room with the Bob, right? He's just going to kind of hang out and talk to people. So it's not straightforward to get the two men next to each other at the same time when shit goes down.
Yes, very good. Okay. And I think the last thing that I will say to my entire crew is that if it's a toss-up between getting the job done and harm to Biscuit, then we cannot afford harm.
No, I think. Yeah, on board with that as well.
So, yeah.
Very good. Lastly, Mushfiq, how are you preparing for this score / gathering info? If you're doing anything.
Well, do we know where they're meeting?
I think you know the rough location of the meeting, which is obviously going to be... actually, yeah, I think it's on the river itself. I think it's probably on one of the barges, but not necessarily one that's in motion. It's just, stevedores. That's what they've got to work with.
Okay, then I think if we are trying to engineer a situation where both factions are being attacked at the same time, it would help to know where the attackers are and where they're coming from. So I'm gonna be... Yes, I'll be how should I frame this? I don't think I'll be tailing them. I think what I'll have is... I know, like, Mushfiq knows people in the area, so he's going to maybe, like, pay off some of the, like, the kids or something. Like, keep an eye out, like, just post sentries, basically, to let him know which direction the flatbread uncles are going to be coming from. Like,
excellent. Yes. Right. I think that's also a consort role, right? Or maybe it's a survey. But yeah.
I think that's consort. I'm using other people to do this for me rather than me doing it. So. Hang on. I also only have one die in consort, so let's see what happens.
Yep.
And it is...
It's a fortune roll.
Also a 6.
It's also a 6.
Naturally.
Okay. You get excellent information. All right. So I will let you decide this. Do you think that this attack is led by Cutlet, who is the regional biggest boss of the Flatbread Uncles, or do you think they've kicked it upstairs and it's someone more influential?
What do we want? I mean, it would make sense for Cutlet to try to get revenge in some capacity.
Yeah, I think so. I also think it should be Cutlet because Cutlet is a devotee of seven-headed wolf, which means that we're going to roll a d7 to find out what weapon he's wielding, and there is a 1 in 7 chance he's got a gift.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
A knuckle supper.
So
I'm just saying that it would be very funny.
Yes. All right, fair enough. So it is Cutlet. It's him again. He's leading this attack with his array of butcher's apprentices and fry cooks. These are the sort of people he have. I mean, the Flatbread Uncles are not like organized, right? They don't have an army. Cutlet is kind of the exception here. And he is a good fighter. So then basically, I think what you will find out with a 6, probably, is that Bidrohi has bested Cutlet before in a fight, but he's not an easy man to fight. Yeah. And I think your good information here is you know what direction they will be coming from, and they will be coming in. Yeah, the cool idea I have in my head is that they come in on a boat, so I'm going to go with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in on a boat, and their plan is basically to chuck Cutlet aboard and have him, like, fight his way through whatever security is there himself, because he's very good. And the rest of his crew are mostly there to, like, get him in place and watch his back.
What is Pagel doing here? Because he's got 2 loyalties, right?
Oh yeah, let's roll for him.
Oh yeah, he's part. I forgot about that. He's this guy's apprentice, but he's also part of your cohort. I think clearly he is the person who gave Mushfiq this information. Then I think that's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I think the logical thing for him is to not participate in this score at all, but to leak all of the information to Mushfiq. So he tells you this entire plan. Which is basically to rely on Cutler's personal prowess. He's going to jump in, kick the ass of anyone who stands between him and Biscuit. Then he's going to grab Biscuit, throw him down into the boat, which his men are rowing, and they're going to fuck off. And then they're going to do horrible things to him because he runs a restaurant without a license.
Okay, so do we need to do something to make sure that the meeting is taking place? No, because they're barging in on the meeting. So we need to somehow have them attack the Scotlanders too.
Yeah, and
I
ideally
mean,
their lead.
Yeah, all right, we'll improvise on the spot maybe.
I wrote some fun stuff for the lockboarders. It'd be really funny to see the flatbread uncles and lockboarders fight each other.
Ooh, let me have a look at that. Lockboarders right here. All right.
All right.
Yeah, cool. So we have 2 meetings. There's a lot going on in this score.
Yes.
We have 2 meetings, both being interrupted and attacked, and we have set ourselves up fairly well for it. You know who is attacking the meeting between Anrakis and the Fursan, but not from where. And you have really good intel on the attack on Biscuit.
Is this the same engagement rule?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Let's keep it simple. It's
fine.
one score, largely because the people up in the restaurant are going to be able to see the barge from there, obviously, because it's just more interesting. So
Excellent. We demonstrate value. Guys, demonstrate value. Get on there. Demonstrate value.
Is that an XP trigger? Is that why you're saying it like this?
Yeah, demonstrate value. Change your trigger to demonstrate value.
No, please don't.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. Are we ready for the roll-in?
Yes.
I think so.
You know, what just occurred to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a moron, it didn't occur to me in the before. This was all in our hunting grounds. We should have got an extra dice for all of these things.
Well, you rolled 6s on everything, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But still.
Wow, what if we critted on everything?
No.
Yeah.
Let's try to remember this. Let's try to remember this in the future.
Excellent. That'd be funny. Game's over.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, because we are at war and this involved the falling star, we also would have had hunting grounds for that anyway.
Yeah.
Because we have that special ability. Engagement rule. Prince, take it away.
Yes. So, is this operation particularly bold or daring?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
I
Is
sure
this
hope
operation
so.
complex?
Yes.
Or contingent on many factors? Yes.
Yes.
Does the target have special preparations?
No.
No, I don't think so. Does your plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target?
Yes, we know a lot about their foibles.
Yeah, I think so. So
Yeah.
you have +1 for that. So you have 2 then, because it is complex but bold, but you're exploiting a detail. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight? I think plenty have.
Yeah.
If nothing else, Mumtaz counts here. So that's 3. Are enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? Because you're being attacked by 2 factions at once, I'm going to count this one because I think
Yes.
it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So normally you don't count the target, but you have 2 rival factions as your target here, so I think it counts. So you're back to 2. And are there other elements? Yes. These guys are higher tier than you. All of them are. And so is Anish Anrakis, who is actually possibly the most dangerous thing here, because he is a ridiculously powerful man. And if anything, there are plenty of things that could go wrong with him. So
Yes.
Score ends with Bidrohi clutching Anish Anrakis to his chest, going, "No, don't die."
yes. Very good.
Okay.
You have 1 die unless you have special abilities that boost them upwards.
Did we take any of them?
I don't think so.
We have door kickers. Yeah.
Oh.
And part of
yeah.
this,
Nice.
and this is partly an
It
assault.
is an assault plan. Yeah, so you have 2 dice then.
Nice. I'm going to roll.
I believe in you. And also,
No.
I will hold you personally responsible
Mm.
if this doesn't work. I'm holding
It
you
worked.
personally responsible.
Is this not what we wanted?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I expected the extra die to be a 6.
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
To be clear, we rolled a 2 and a 1.
Okay, it's desperate as hell. So, I will describe the 2 reasons why this score is desperate on separate ends, and then we'll pick an area to start with. And I will start down by the water, where Mushfiq and Saeeda are watching what is unfolding. And basically what happens here is that you see the scene fairly clearly. You see Biscuit, he boards this like big barge where a bunch of guys are milling around. He's like introducing himself to them, shaking hands, and so on. And he is so damn charismatic and so damn well liked that before long, like rather than get to talking business, he just finds himself caught up in these interesting conversations on the deck. He doesn't go indoors. He just kind of mills about. And then you see Cutlet's rowers approach. And I mean, they're rowing a boat. You know which direction they're coming from. You recognize Cutlet. He is like a statuesque, muscular man. He has not made a particular effort to disguise himself. And you see this and you think, well, they're rowing closer. We have some time to set this up. You know?
Yes.
And then, just as you are moving into position, his boat speeds up dramatically. And you realize that, oh, he's not just relying on muscle powers. He's not just relying on rowers. Somehow the Flatbread Uncles have gotten a hold of an Akarosi electroplasmic engine. They have a motorboat.
Mira's just got an interesting commission. It's been a long time. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave him alone.
And so what we see is them speeding towards the barge on a very fast boat, just as Biscuit is approaching the railing to go have a chat with a fellow who is standing by the railing. So that's your situation. The Flatbread Uncles have a fast boat, and their plan is just to like pull this guy into the boat and leave, which is now going to be exceptionally easy for them.
Do they have a lasso?
Yeah, they probably do. Okay, I'm not going to roll for what weapon this guy is using today. He's just using a lasso. They planned it around lasso day.
Yes.
Just...
Okay. Cool. Can we make it a lasso on an arrow so that we know that it's like quote unquote bow?
Yes. Okay. Fine.
What?
Today's weapon is rope arrows.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my life.
Exactly.
Rope arrows?
Rope arrows? It's like a grappling hook.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And whose grappling hook is still broken?
Yes.
It's okay. Mushfiq's also armed with a grappling hook.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
It's broken.
Oh,
Yes.
It's broken.
It's broken. Yes.
Yeah.
So
useless son of a bitch.
that happens. And before we move to the other half of the crew, where do you think Saeeda and Mushfiq are? Have you? Because you can't easily get on the barge, right? The barge belongs to a faction that doesn't actually like you. Biscuit is here to try to broker peace with them, and it's actually going really well. But you can't be on the barge, so where do you think you are? Are you on your own boat in the river, or somewhere nearby? Or just setting up roughly like your position as this happens?
Okay, great. I would like to hear what the other half is before deciding what to do.
Sure. We don't have to decide it now. So, meanwhile then, Bidrohi and Clem, you are approaching the location where this meeting is to be held.
Mhm.
And it is a small, I don't think it's precisely a restaurant even, it's like a social club where the Fursan often go. So it's one of these, in a lot of places they have these like recreational areas for the armed forces, right? Where you can go and like, maybe there's a gym, there's like a little restaurant, there's like a place to play chess, whatever. It's one of those places for the Fursan.
I can just imagine the scene. There's a raised podium on which lieutenant who moonlights as a singer is sitting next to a sergeant who's playing the harmonium very badly.
Yeah, this sort of vibe. This is ordinarily what it's like, and so it's not like that difficult to get into. Unfortunately, what you guys will learn as you approach this location, where you had, do you have Julika with you, since she is your contact now? Do you rely on her to get in, or are you just going to be like, we'll wing it when we get there?
I don't know what Clem would have talked to her about.
I think Clem would have invited her. This is an opportunity for her to fight this lieutenant that's going to turn up.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for her to fight, and it's also like, she is on the Fursan, so she can go like, yeah, these people are with me, they can come in to the club. enjoy the facilities.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that would ordinarily be the plan. So she steps up to the gate guard who is posted outside, who is a very bored man, who isn't himself a Fursan. He isn't himself someone badass. He is the doorman at the club. And she goes like, I brought 2 friends. I know we're normally just allowed 1, but I hope it's okay. And she like extends to him a bribe. This is how it's done. And he says, oh, no, madam. No access today. No access at all. No, some very important man is inside, and also Captain Ruxana, and she ordered they have the place to themselves today. I'm afraid no can let you in. Very important, he says. And as he says this very important and displays out his hands, you can see that his pockets are very full and very heavy, and he has been properly bribed by these people to turn everyone else away.
Excellent. This looks like a job for Bidrohi.
Yeah.
He will like, oh, turning us away, but like, then who's going to eat all these Gulab Jamuns? And then I put one in his hand. And we're the Gulab Jamun delivery people.
Okay, that's your plan? Well, okay, we can start you off with the first action. This does seem desperate because...
Yeah, it's the dumbest shit I ever heard. And I know I say this on this podcast and on this game, but it is genuinely the dumbest shit I ever heard.
I need to work harder then. I feel like some of the other things have been dumber, but...
So your plan is to give him Gulab Jamun
bribes?
Yes,
and claim that you are the people here to deliver like snacks for this private meeting.
Yes. Does Bidrohi not look like a man who's here to deliver snacks? Well, it's on light load.
Not. Oh yeah, load. We should have determined load.
Yes.
Yes,
that's a good point.
I should also be on light load, right? Because we're pretending like everything is fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm on light load in the sense that once I dispose of this big hamper of Gulab Jamun, I'll be on light load. But currently I'm on heavy load. But I'm marking it as light.
Okay, sure. Okay. There seems to be a theme in this podcast that people gradually just get their trademark favorite food they're obsessed with, because Gulab Jamun to Bidrohi is kind of coming what mango is to Saeeda at this point. But...
it can never rise to those levels.
No. Nothing can rise to those levels.
Anyway, if you want to bribe,
thing.
If you want to bribe this man, it is desperate, it is limited, and the limited effect will be that he will still think something is up, but he'll let you, pass, and which does not take care of all of the problems, because obviously the people actually inside have not ordered anything, but you'll get past this guy.
Then surprise Gulab Jamun, and they should be happy.
Yes, and the reason this is desperate is that this guy has been paid a handsome enough bribe that he knows that whatever is going on in there is important for dangerous people to be about. And so he will suspect you of being far worse than the Rising Moon Sword School, right? This is...
Okay. I mean, that's true. But Sibling Clem, would you consent to carrying on your shield even more Gulab Jamun?
This is the aid? You're just...
Shall we just make this a group action?
Yes.
I think that
group
makes
action
sense.
Gulab Jamun. That should be the name of this session, by the way. This episode is Group Action Gulab Jamun.
It's a sway, I think.
Damn.
Yes,
maybe.
I think it's a sway.
Is that okay?
I've got 0 in sway. It's up to you. Do you want that on your conscience?
I don't think... I mean, concert might be better, but I don't think it's a concert, is it?
No, I think this is definitely a sway. You're straight up trying to bullshit this guy.
Okay.
Yes, I am using my fine shield to carry your Gulab Jamun. Clem does not look happy about this whatsoever.
Why not?
This is somehow so Asterix using a shield, but not.
He really is. You're not wrong.
Yes.
Since you have it with like both hands, nothing stops Bidrohi just popping a Gulab Jamun into your mouth to change your mind about the Gulab Jamun.
Anyway,
yes.
Enough about the quality and quantity of the food. Let's.
Okay.
Nobody ever says that on this podcast. Interesting.
No, actually.
Yeah, fuck it. This is important. I'm going to push myself. The 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see Clem's roll, if Clem generates any stress here.
That's a 1.
Yes,
But
it's a 1.
importantly, there was a 6 in there. There was a
Yes.
6
So
in
it
there.
could have been okay if you had pushed yourself.
There's a bisecting timeline where Clem is a
Uh-huh.
person with taste who understands that Gulab Jamun is good, but
Uh-huh.
currently they just think Gulab Jamun is shit.
Yes. All right. So
Yes.
what is going to happen here then is, like, you succeed. Bidrohi takes a stress. Both of you mark XP for a desperate action.
Mhm.
And this guy basically figures that something is probably going on, but it's above my pay grade. And he does not want to be the person who stops them from getting snacks in case they really did order them and it's his fault.
Also, give him
But-
like several handfuls of Gulab Jamun, which is pretty unpleasant, to be
Yes.
honest. We have several
Yeah, I was
several
gonna
Gulab
say,
Jamuns.
if you just have it in your hands, that's not
Yes.
great.
Maybe your plan was just to make him so sticky that he would be unable to interfere.
I'm thinking ahead.
Yes. Anyway, he goes like, okay, friends, if you say so. And he will kind of like shrug non-committally. And what is happening here with your limited success is just he's not going to stop you from going inside, but he's not going to like announce your presence or be like, hey, I brought these people. He wants as much plausible deniability as possible, which means that you're still kind of just basically barging in uninvited from the point of view of the people inside.
Yes.
But
Excellent.
He's not going to stop you.
Excellent.
I think with that, let's immediately cut away from your first action. So you can go past this guy. Let's cut away to Mushfiq and Saeeda, where lots of things are going wrong.
Yes.
Cutlet is approaching on his motorboat, and you probably can see, since you have like visual between you, that Bidrohi and Clem have been caught up at the door above you.
Okay. So I wanted to. The reason I asked what is happening on the other side is that I wanted to know whether there was any chance what was happening on the other side could help me. But it turns out there isn't, because what's happening on the other side is Gulab Jamun. Which is fine. So I'm gonna look at Mushfiq and I'm gonna say, looks like they have one of those electroplasmic engines. You have any experience with one of those things? I'm not sure I know anything about them.
So I had, I think, a different idea of what Mushfiq was gonna do. So I'm gonna say that, and then we can maybe. So, Prince, did we say where we are? Like, I assume, like, we're not right next to Biscuit Bachan, because
No. How I was picturing was you were probably walking along with this boat, like along the shore, right? So you can keep an eye on it because you knew where they were coming from, and then suddenly they unveil this motor and they speed up.
All right. Okay. Okay. This won't like conflict with what Saeeda is doing, but my idea for how to get Cutlet to attack the Scotlanders as well is that Mushfiq is dressed like one of the Scotlanders, and will,
of course.
And the idea here is that when Mushfiq rescues everyone, they'll be like, "Oh wow, look, Scotlander rescuing Biscuit Bachan! What a show of solidarity among the refugees!"
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes, and it lets you wear one of your ridiculous disguises again, which I see what you're angling for here. So,
in fact, why another one? I think Captain Mackerel could be a Scotlander.
Okay, Captain Mackerel is a Scotlander. Fantastic.
So the citizen of the world.
Okay.
So this was great question.
I'm going to promise you this right now because it's funny. If you pull this off and you manage to be Captain Mackerel through this score, you can add, as an extra reward from this score, a fine cover identity to your sheet.
Right.
Perfect. Okay. So Saeeda asks, "Have I seen one of these before?" And so
I look to my right, and Mushfiq's not even there.
No, this is Captain Mackerel who says, I forget what Captain Mackerel's accent was like. Did he have one?
It can be a different one. It's a fine cover identity, right?
We need to talk about Captain Mackerel sometime, Mushfiq Bhai.
What does Scotlander sound like? Did we say anything? I think they all sound like this, don't they?
As I recall, Captain Mackerel just sounded like a stereotypical pirate, like yar.
Oh, okay. In that case, then he goes, our ships were just sailing ships, like rowed by real men. Yeah, which is both in character and also true because in Ketris I don't think they have this.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, that makes sense. Indeed.
I reckon we should make a run for it, though I still have me sea legs, of course.
Amazing.
Yes, of course. As you say, your sea legs, right? And,
Okay.
Okay.
So I will paint.
I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, you know what you're gonna do. Perfect. Go ahead and say that first. Then I'll paint the scene a little bit myself.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be a badass. This is definitely desperate. Which is I imagine that we're leaning over a kind of parapet or something, right? Like looking over the river. I kind of swing my arms. I'm going to mark my fine demon edge sash, without which I never travel. And because we have Bravo's rigging, it's still free load. And I swing one end of the sash. I've got like one end in one hand, and then like the other one wrapped around my arm. And then I will say, in that case, let's do it like we used to in Ketris. And I am just going to take a couple of steps back and then do a running leap and then hope to jump onto the boat.
The motorboat full of thugs.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay. That is definitely desperate. Yes.
Yeah, Mushfiq wants to jump off, like build relations. Great. I also want to build relations. The way that I'm going to do this is make clear that they were coming for us. See?
Yeah.
So we better stop it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Once they start this engine, obviously people are going to notice them. Motorboats are not common and they make noise. So the people, Biscuit and his newfound friends are all looking your way. Absolutely. I will, however, start you off in a very harsh position here. So you start with desperate limited. And the way this is limited is this will not be an elegant landing on the boat. This is a jump into the river from which you can grab the boat.
Yes.
So you can,
That's fine.
You can get within reach, you can hang on to it, but you won't, unless you up this to standard, you won't land elegantly standing.
Yeah. That's fair. I will first speak the name of the Prince of Endings here. I don't think I'm using the ability. I'm not sure that that the Prince of Endings can help me do a jump. I'm happy to be proved wrong, by the way, but I don't think that makes sense. This is rather just a prayer, right? So, and I think like Mushfiq can definitely hear me say something like, "In the name of He who ends Ankatam," whatever, right? I will do two things. The first thing is, I have Ustad, which lets me move unimpeded when I fight using the Rising Moon style.
Okay.
Now, do you think that this is an example of that?
Move unimpeded? I think so, because you're using the sash, which is part of the Rising Moon style, presumably. So the way I picture that it helps here is, your sash is alive. It can grab things. It's demon possessed. So I think you can jump and swing off of something. Like, a pole sticking
I can do
out
a
of my head.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, I can do a Mushfiq.
So, we have this architecture, right, with poles sticking out, like maybe a laundry pole or something. We see your sash wrap around it. It gives you that extra distance. So sure, if you activate this ability, you have standard effect.
Okay, so I'll take one stress for this. This seems like a prowl, so I'm going to push myself for a die. Unless there's an interesting devil's bargain here. Because I have 0 dice in prowl.
Is there an interesting devil's bargain? Okay, you know what? Just because it's Saeeda, I'm going to throw one in. I don't remember the name of this guy's weird-ass god. But if you're willing to...
Seven-headed war.
Yeah, seven-headed war. If you think that your prayer will offend his god, you can have a devil's bargain.
Yes,
he's also quite... Yeah, he's also a devout follower of a god, and he speaks a prayer at the exact same time, because he's moving into range to fight.
Absolutely.
The effect of this devil's bargain is that he will actually have his god's blessing, and you won't have yours, because this has nothing to do with what your god does at all.
Also, your god doesn't exist.
Hey! Do not speak heresy, lest you be struck dead by the Prince of Endings.
Indeed, but you can have a devil's bargain under this circumstance if you're willing to have him become extra badass.
Yeah, this is, there's no problem here, because then when I beat him, imagine how much even better reputation we will get with this goblin list.
Yes.
So that's totally fine.
I have a mental image of what this blessing looks like, but we can get to that if I may.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as I take off, and I see, I the way that I'm imagining this is that like I throw like one end of the sash and it flies, it defies gravity, right? Like it doesn't like swoop elegantly down, it somehow swoops up even to wrap around the pole. But I'm gonna look unperturbed because I'm cool.
Yep.
And I lock eyes with him as we both murmur this prayer to each other. And yeah, I will roll my 1 die in prowl.
Yeah.
Desperate standard. 1 bonus die. It's a 2, which is great.
Oh yeah.
No, no.
Things don't go great for you. So, what happens here, I think, is Klow, do you want to describe the visual of his getting his god's blessing?
It's 7-headed war, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what it looks like is that it's still him, but superimposed around his head, like a carousel, are 6 other faces that shift around, and every time face kind of like moves, the thing in his hand changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got all 7
Fantastic.
weapons,
Yeah.
changing all the time.
And so-
Maybe he has no control over it.
I think one of these faces, which is probably only visible in the ghost field, but Saeeda sees them. One of these faces spots you as you're midair. You do the swing towards him. You like move in a perfect smooth motion, and you are sure you're gonna land on the boat. And then he hurls his grappling hook towards you, grabs you, tugs so that you miss the boat. He catches you midair, slings you into the water, and drags you behind the speedboat. Just involuntarily water skiing.
Okay, this is great. This looks incredible.
Yeah. The consequences here are twofold. One, you are in the river, and the other one is this grappling hook is, stuck in your clothes and shit. I don't think it's stuck in your flesh, but you're pretty badly caught. So there's no harm yet, but you're in a situation which sucks and is not fun.
Yeah. I would like to resist. And I don't mind. That's a lie. I do mind this. I would like to resist falling in the water. I think that being caught is still really bad. It means he gets to decide reach. But if I could do a cool flip and then still land on the boat in a much worse position than I did otherwise, that would be good.
Very well. Then
so
you
prowess.
May resist this. Yep.
I have 2 dice. Rolled a 5, so I take 1 stress, which is not so bad.
Take 1 stress.
Except I'm about to be beat to shit.
Yes, and since you resist this, I will let you choose the outcome here. Either his primary weapon is still the grappling hook, and he just kind of snares you up on the boat so that you're quite badly bound. You can't freely use your arms or anything. Or he just pulls you towards him and stabs you with a punching dagger as his weapons shift, and you take a level 2 harm.
Oh, man. I shouldn't, but I'll take the harm.
Yeah.
The reason I shouldn't take the harm is bad. The reason I will is, dude, come on.
Yeah. It's a very video game maneuver. Pull you in and stab you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Absolutely.
I will say gut wound.
Yep. Very good. And Mushfiq, what are you doing as Saeeda makes this daring leap and there's this momentarily mid-air sash versus grappling hook fight that Saeeda loses?
I was going to follow suit by... Okay, tell me, has this slowed down the boat at all?
Probably a little bit, because, it's a motorboat, but, the technology and the Akarosi electroplasmic technology is not that good. We're not talking like a James Bond super cool speedboat, right? It's impressive by 19th century standards, probably not by modern standards. So yes, it does slow the boat down a little bit, probably puts it a little off course.
Yes, I think for Mushfiq, there are 2 things. One, Saeeda clearly needs help, but 2, it'd be very foolish for him to do the thing that Saeeda just did, because it's probably going to end the same way.
Yeah, don't do that.
So, yeah, I think Sorry, Saeeda, I think you're gonna have to sort of deal with this
Do
one.
on my own? Yeah.
While Mushfiq tries to get to the meeting as fast as he can, just try to get there to.
Yeah. Makes sense to warn
to
this
head it
group
off.
to
Yeah.
make sure he's not. Yeah. Okay, so you're just running ahead. Fair enough. I think that's possible now because the boat has slowed down a little bit and also probably veered off course. They need to correct it so that it's heading in the right way and so on. So sure, you can run for it. You can sprint, and I think that's not desperate because you're playing a kind of safe thing. But I think it's still an action, and I'm going to call it risky standard. With standard effect being you get there ahead of the speedboat, and the risk being you kick up a lot of attention on the barge because they don't know who you are. You may look like a Skovlander, but they don't know Captain Mackerel. So you may sow confusion by just rushing in.
So how's that a risk for Mushfiq?
It's a risk in the sense that you are running in on a sensitive meeting and they don't know what the fuck is going on. So they might mistake you for an enemy or something.
I see. Okay, yeah.
So,
all right.
The risk is you arrive there first, but not to a friendly crowd, but with people who are incredibly suspicious of you.
Yeah, okay. I'll just go for it. I've got 2 points in prowl, and I've rolled 2 2s. Okay.
Yeah. I think the thing that goes wrong for you in the most, you can still resist this, and if you resist it, you will simply, fall behind. But the consequence here is going to be that one of the lockporter people stops you, and just goes "Whoa there, sailor! This is a private meeting," and he's going to shove you backwards and keep an eye on you.
It also occurs to me, if I may, is that the Lockporters a lot of them used to be in Lockport, the city, which is an industrial hub for Leviathan refining. They may not be the biggest fan of sailors.
They may not be the biggest fan of sailors indeed. Yeah, they made the incredibly toxic ship's fuel that some of the Skovlanders used as well.
Yes.
But I'm the salt of the earth, or rather the sea.
Anyway, yeah.
I think you'll find Mackerel a salt of the ocean, actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
you can avoid this consequence, but if you don't avoid this consequence, the Lockporters will be suspicious of you and you don't get there in time.
No, I want to resist, and I'm going to resist because is there... Okay, so we know a Skovlander, Gunnar, right? I wonder maybe if in a flashback I could have asked him to either, I don't know, put a word in for Captain Mackerel, or tell me what something a sort of passcode, a phrase that I can say that to establish my bona fides.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Okay, yeah, it's an insight resist, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And so yeah, I think what makes the most sense is for him to put in a word here,
all right. All right, and I've resisted it completely.
Yeah. So the guy goes, "Whoa there," and then he looks at you and he goes "Oh, you're that captain guy Gunnar was talked about. All right, we might need some help. Sorry to hold you up." And of course, you failed the roll, so he still holds you up, but he apologizes for it.
Yeah. You go there. Nobody, landlubber.
What's happening?
He turns around and goes, "Gunnar got weird friends, man."
What's happening?
To be honest, given how we met Gunnar, yes, Gunnar do got weird friends.
Yes.
Prince said that if I... two answers I have. Prince said that if I was able to keep up the character throughout the score, I'd get to find this guy's kid. So
yes. Now that this guy's could cover it.
If you're gonna blame anyone, blame Prince for encouraging me.
That's true. I do. I'm doing that.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the clubhouse. So you guys walk into the little foyer, which is this is a reasonably big clubhouse, which is why it's extra dickish to claim the whole thing for itself. But yeah, it has a little foyer where you can take off your shoes, and all that. And I think that little foyer is not directly visible from where they're having the meeting. So you can step in and you can sort of see what's going on without necessarily being spotted. But you can't go much further than here. And so when you look into the room, they have... This is, the kind of place that hosts policemen's balls and stuff. So there's a big area that can be a dance floor. And that dance floor has a single table in the middle of it. around which are seated Mumtaz and Captain Ruxana, and probably Captain Ruxana's +1, because I guess this is the sort of situation where you bring a +1 and no one else. And also Anish and Rakis. And we have seen what Mumtaz looks like before.
Mhm.
She's incredibly beautiful, always impeccably dressed. Now always dressed in black, since that's Anish's color, and he wants to, show his power over her or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think the man himself has slicked back, pitch black hair, a very elegant, like thin black mustache, and very, very like those kind of eyebrows that poke out like horns. This kind of very pointy eyebrows.
Mhm.
He is himself dressed in like a more variety of colors because he doesn't need to prove he owns Shadow Silk. Everyone knows that. So he probably is dressed in like some ostentatious thing like purple, black, and silver. And he just looks, well, richer than God. That's the look you get for him.
I'm imagining him also because it's like House on Ruckus, which has demon magic. Well, it's quite highly placed there.
Mhm.
And I think he's under some sort of cosmetic enchantment, or he's like drinks a potion that turns his skin like alabaster pale, like unnaturally pale. So that so that the black kind of like it looks even more dramatic.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he has a very handsome, pale look. And yeah, I mean, he's a demon-blooded noble wielding forbidden magics. This is a person you do not fuck with. And opposite him sits Captain Ruxana, and I have no idea about Captain Ruxana of the intended fashion police, other than she is a person who has a reputation for being good at catching smugglers. So I will say, Salty, give me something about her appearance.
Well, if she's the fashion police, I'm picturing Miranda Priestley.
Yeah.
She's just Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada.
Okay. Very well. Sure, I get the vibe. So she's
And Anna Wintour.
Okay.
Oh, she's got sunglasses on inside.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Perfect.
She does.
And Bidrohi.
You need it because the light keeps bouncing off of Anish and Ruckus's face because of how pale he is.
Yes.
That's not a joke. That's what's happening.
Yes. Yeah.
And Bidrohi, lastly, since we have a fourth person in here who's totally undefined, who's her date? Who's her +1 who she has dragged along for this pleasant dinner for 4 on this double date that Anish and Rakis apparently arranged this at?
God.
Trying to see if it should be anyone we know, anyone who would be particularly unpleasant to have. I just had a horrible thought.
Okay, good.
Lay it on me.
Love to have horrible thoughts.
It's Cherubino.
It's Cherubino, of course it's Cherubino. They're playing
do you
both
have horrible
sides of
thoughts?
this exchange. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so Cherubino the acrobat is sitting next to this elegant woman. Obviously, he's also somewhat, or I guess he wouldn't have to be undercover. I guess they could just be dating. I know what happened. Anish obviously went like, I can set you up with a date because I own this theater company. I can set you up with a hot young acrobat. So, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I have no idea if she's into him or not.
Probably not.
This is fine.
Understandable.
We wrecked his reputation once, we can do it again.
Yes. Yeah, so they are having a conversation over extremely lavish food. Obviously, there is some staff inside, but I think it's like minimal, like skeleton crew, so they can have privacy to discuss this. So there's like one waiter, there's one cook in the kitchen back there. But it's basically as lavish a food as you can get with one cook and one waiter. And tons of money for ingredients.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So, out of character, I don't know. I didn't think this far ahead. So I think Bidrohi, who has confidently walked in with the cover identity of delivering Gulab Jamun, now turns to Clem and it's like, okay, sibling Clem, do you have any ideas about what we should do now?
to clarify why there's a wrinkle in your plan here, in case that wasn't clear. I think this was like a last minute change, so it was supposed to be the case that you could have just walked in and like hung out here and then been attacked, but now that isn't the case.
Yeah. So I turned to Clem to see to spotlight her, but I'm also happy to go ahead on my own.
So first things first, please take this Gulab Jamun off of my shield. It is extremely sticky. Second thing second, you very publicly have a thing for Mumtaz, right? Challenge him for her hand, something like that. Very showy, very fabulous. It's your whole thing, right?
It is a huge part of my thing. My thing is multi-dimensional and cannot be compressed into one subset of a thing. But yes, I like the way this is going. I will not be pedantic about it. Thank you. Thank you, Sibling Clem. And what shall you be doing? And Faris Julekha. By the way, Faris Julekha, I think it's very, very generous and very big-minded of you that you accepted my card. Thank you for being here.
That's what they call a devil's bargain, I think.
Yes.
Is opening your mouth and making a massive fool of yourself.
Yes. So
Yes,
Juleka just
card.
yeah. I think Juleka mostly looks uncomfortable now because things have not gone to plan.
Yeah. So I can barge in. Does Clem have a plan, or do I just go in and then you just say what you're going to do?
I was going to be a waiter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm going
you
to.
have a plate of Gulab Jamun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a waiter
So did
now.
you come here wearing a waiter disguise, or are you planning to bonk this waiter on the head and take his? Is that the?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that none of them are built like Clem.
No, probably not.
Probably not. No.
Probably like one limb of Clem is what they're built like.
So I think I have to have my own disguise, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so Mark, I forget what it's called, subterfuge supplies, I think.
Makes sense.
Okay. So you are dressed as, I guess you're the dessert waiter.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like one of those like medieval, I think they're called subtleties, like those desserts that are like shaped to look like something. You have dessert piled on a military shield, okay?
Yes.
That's the opposite of a subtlety.
It's ostentatious. It does blend in, actually.
Yes. Subtleties were not subtle.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go in. I say, okay, wish me luck.
Good luck. Break a leg.
I'll be breaking many people's legs. All right, let's go. And then I think he's going to stride forward, and I'm imagining that like the center is like well lit, and like everything else is like in relative darkness. So if you're in the center, it's hard for you to see people coming at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be a bit until like I entered the spotlight, and I'm going to calculate for that exact moment, and I'll be like, "You are Anish and Rakis, sir. Lord Anish and Rakis, and I have a complaint to throw against you, sir."
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh God. Okay.
He says,
first,
turning towards you, leaning on his hand, just completely casual.
Okay. It is a triumvirate complaint, okay? Or maybe I mean triune or triad, okay? I'm not very good at words. That is your forte as an educated man. But you understand the meaning and the spirit of my words, okay? First head of this trident, okay? You are dating my girlfriend. Now, that's not such a huge deal for me because I'm happy to share, but I think it's an imposition on Mumtaz because I am boyfriend enough for 3 people at the same time, okay? So, please back away. Please, understand that the lady is busy, okay? Second of all is that you have been very unjust to my good friend Tumdurji. You have accused him of like doing, I don't know, shadow silk smuggling and so on. And I know, sir, that that's entirely your thing and you love that. Okay, that's cool for you. But you know and I know that Tumdurji is not doing that sort of thing, okay? Third of all, this is a related complaint to number 2. We know that the reason you are like making these accusations against Tum Dorji is because Ustad Jaiklev of Falling Star School has like told you to lean on us, and I understand that you really like that guy, but like that guy's like been doing some really whacked shit. Okay, like now he's like turned his entire organization into like some sort of like vendetta against me and my people, and like see we are like totally persecuted at this moment. Okay, it's very very unjust, and you have like I don't know, you have Captain Ruxana over there. Captain Ruxana, you've been like you know what's been happening in Bunderwest, right? This you know that we are being persecuted for racially and culturally and so on. And these are the 3 levels of my complaint, and I am here to have satisfaction from you, as you are underneath it all. I know underneath that foundation, you are a man of the people.
Just like Alpana.
Yeah.
This is the moment where I would like to be attacked by Falling Star Sword School people.
Okay, I see. Well, he says, "Are you quite finished?" And I think you will need to have an action roll here to time this, because obviously he's going to do something, but you are sort of stalling for time. So I think the action here is basically you held this entire speech. The question is, can you stall for time and keep him amused by talking long enough that the falling star will actually arrive? I think that's the...
Yes.
So it's a roll for endurance babbling.
Okay, I'm going to call it concert because it's not about swaying. It's just about
it's
muttering.
just about being pleasant enough company or entertaining enough company for.
I'm being entertaining. I'm not being pleasant.
Yes.
Yes.
This is desperate because if he is bored with you, he's going to use his considerable assets to just make you leave and stop interrupting his dinner. But and you know, it's desperate because he is a noble. He has means of making you leave.
Yes. Fair enough. I don't want to, you know.
Yes. But you did acquire an asset. You did acquire an asset and set yourself up for this, and for that reason, and because you got a high quality asset, I think it's standard effect. I think you can make the falling star turn up for your.
Excellent.
Yes, and I will say this: with standard effect, they will turn up and cause a disturbance for this. With great effect, they will jump straight in, like somehow they will engage you right away on the spot. So if you want great effect, you can do that. If it's standard, I'm more thinking like, you know, a window breaks or something when you're done talking.
It was desperate standard, right?
It's the waiter.
So wait. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll push myself for extra effect, I guess. And that makes sense.
So then it's desperate. Great.
Okay. So I'm pushing myself. So may I have a devil's bargain?
Yes, you may have a devil's bargain. You are talking while all of this is going on. Yeah. And Cherubino, because he's a little bitch, he's sitting closer to you than everyone else, it turns out. He's going to throw itching powder at you while you have your conversation. Just no one's looking at him. He just chuck some itching powder in your direction to make you embarrass yourself when you're done talking. You're going to start scratching yourself all over.
Oh my god! This man is such a terrible man.
Yes, this is why I'm offering him as a devil's bargain.
I would like that to happen, but because I'm not taking the devil's bargain, I would like it to miss me because he's incompetent.
Sure, fair enough.
So it just looks like he throws some pepper.
Yes.
It just blows away.
Okay, fair enough. I guess someone opened a window at an inopportune time for him.
The reason I'm not taking this devil's bargain is that I want to look cool.
Yes, I know, which is why I presented this.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, correct.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Clem, please help me. Clem, please. Clem, please.
Yeah. I'll help you.
Okay.
I think Clem at this point is serving the table. Yes, makes a point, don't you think?
This gigantic waiter who is clearly a soldier. Okay, that's intimidating. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, nice. It's a 5.
The 5. So the logical thing here then is that you succeed in having them turn up without, like, before Anish gets bothered and bored with you. So you succeed in holding this entire speech, presenting your point before him. He doesn't necessarily like care about what you think, but you're entertaining enough that he actually listens,
Mhm.
right, and doesn't just dismiss you. He goes, okay, fair, there are some things there I might consider.
Mhm.
And then obviously the desperate consequence is that your enemy will turn up and stab you because the consequence of you being kicked out doesn't make any sense if you succeed, but this consequence makes a hell of a lot of sense. So level 3 harm. That's
okay. I'm going to mark armor first.
Mhm.
Would that take it down to level 2 or what?
Level 2, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to resist on top of that. Okay. So let's see. Okay, one stress because of 5. I'm quite close to my third trauma. Well, that's fine. It's whatever. Okay, so I think the way this looks is that suddenly there's a sword, but it kind of like catches on my armor and kind of like slips to the side. And instead of like lowering my the harm that I take, which can be, I don't know, that I get bruised ribs.
Yeah.
That's it, because of the blunt force. Yeah. I think what happens is that instead of like reducing the harm, the sword kind of like comes to the side, and then I kind of like tuck my arm in, and I kind of grab the arm that kind of was stabbing me, and then I'm holding it. I'm like, see what I mean?
Yeah. So I think Clem suggested is excellent. I think in fact the assassin is the other waiter, because it's really funny if both the waiters are infiltrating. So this anonymous looking waiter suddenly whips out a sword from under his towel, I guess, where he had it. And for some reason I'm now imagining having a telescoping sword, so I'm just gonna go with it. He whips it out from under his
Oh my god, he has a telescoping sword?
Yes. He like extends it with a click.
Excellent, okay.
It like pops out. He reaches for you to like elegantly stab you, and then this happens, and you're like locked in conflict with him, and he stares at you intently, and he says, "Good. This way you will know that you were slain by Dalimuddin Fuddin Puddin."
What?
That's his name.
What?
Did he just say foot in pudding? I know he didn't.
Yes. Fuddin Puddin. Okay.
Yes, indeed. I'm sure he finds himself making this clarification.
Is he holding a plate of pudding?
I mean, sure, why not?
Maybe that's his calling.
Yes.
I mean, these are like essentially like pro wrestlers, right? So like he's working on his gimmick, which is pudding based. It's not working.
Yes, it's not working at all. No. Okay, I was thrown a stupid name at the beginning of this session, and I'm gonna use it. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Very fun.
Okay.
So yeah,
right.
You're locked with this man who holds a sword in one hand and a plate of pudding in the other hand, and he's dramatically looking at you with the intent to kill. And I think because you succeeded, right? Anish Anrakis, who has like demon powers and shit, could intervene, but instead he's just like, "Oh, entertainment! How good!" I mean, to be fair, he sponsors people who fight in the Colosseum, so I guess he enjoys watching people beat the shit out of each other. Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Psalmistry, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha. next time on Desperate Attune.
So Mushfiq, I think, does want to get Biscuit Bachan out of danger. He's precious to the community, and no harm should come to him. So he just says, "No, it's too dangerous. I've seen this before. Let a sea man take care of this."
Oh, for fuck's sake.